Hey guys, 22 Plinkster here. Today we're going to be looking at my Ruger Mark II competition target pistol. I've been looking forward to this review. I'm hitting them, they just don't want to turn. Alright guys, this is my Ruger Mark II competition target. A lot of you have been wanting me to do a review on this particular pistol, so I'm finally getting around to it. There's not a whole lot to say about this pistol, the ins and outs. Most of you are familiar with the Ruger and the Ruger series pistol. They started making the Ruger Mark IIs in 1982. I'm not for sure when they came out with the Mark II competition target. It's a little dirty inside. I've been shooting it this morning. But this gun is extremely accurate. A lot of times, you guys send me personal messages or leave comments on my videos and asking me what a good 22 target pistol would be. To be honest with you, if I had my choice and I had $300 to $400 to spend, it would be a Ruger Mark II. Okay, it's hard to find the Mark IIs now. You can still find them in gun shops and of course on Gunbroker and places like that. Now the more common pistol is the Ruger Mark III target or the Hunter. But the Mark II, I've had this one for probably about 4 or 5 years. I traded a Smith & Wesson 22A and a little extra money on top of that for this pistol. It's a great shooting pistol. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Let me shoot it a few more times. I actually have 2 magazines for this video, believe it or not. I think this is the first video I ever had that I had 2 magazines, so. The trigger has some getting used to on it. I'm used to shooting that Woodsman so much, and this has got a little bit more travel in it. But let me tell you how accurate this pistol is. If you see here on the table, I have a scope. All right. A lot of you guys ask me the question, do I shoot scopes on any of my firearms? Well, the answer to that is yes. I do shoot scopes. All my hunting rifles, I have a scope on them, and I usually have the scope on this pistol. I stopped squirrel hunting with a rifle when I got this pistol. I stopped squirrel hunting with a rifle when I purchased this pistol. Extremely accurate. With this scope, I don't know if you guys have ever shot a pistol with a scope. It's not that easy. If you have a good steady rest, you can do pretty good. But if you're trying to freehand it, don't think just because you have a scope that you can hit a lot better with it. That's not usually the case. But if you have a good stable rest, you can pick off targets pretty good. Actually, the first video I ever put up here on YouTube, I was using this pistol. This is what I shot the golf ball at 100 yards with. Of course, I had the scope on it. I can consistently shoot with this pistol at a good rest at 100 yards. I can consistently shoot 1.5 inch groups with just bulk ammo. So the gun is the pistol is extremely accurate. Something else about it, I mentioned that I take this pistol squirrel hunting. I have a witness, and this witness will probably be watching this video. He subscribes to me here on YouTube, and he actually just lives a couple houses down. We were out in the back a couple years ago. I guess it's probably about 3 years ago, squirrel hunting, and I have 2 confirmed kills on squirrels at 123 yards with this pistol. Took me 3 shots to harvest 2 squirrels, but it was at 123 yards. So that was just with regular Federal bulk ammo. It's extremely accurate. I don't shoot it that much with the scope off of it, so I'm thinking it's pretty much on. It's just I got to get used to that trigger. Let me hush up about it and do some more shooting. Great pistol. I think you can pick these up used for about in between $250 and $350. It all depends on the condition. I have probably put probably about 10,000 rounds through this pistol, and it was used, of course, when I bought it. A lot of people do not like the Mark series of pistols. Okay, the big reason why they don't like them is that they are a pain to break apart, okay? Especially if you've never done it before. I've taken them apart so many times, you know, it's no big deal for me, but they are a pain to do if you've never taken them apart. And I'll probably, again, do a video on that. You need 3 things to take this pistol apart. You need a paper clip, you need a wooden mallet or a non-marring mallet or a rubber mallet to dislodge the barrel from the frame here. And the most important, you need patience, all right? Because they're a little tedious taking apart. There's not a lot of parts to them. It's just how they break down and how they put back together. You've got to hold your mouth a certain way, and you know, it's just, you know, they can be a little difficult. But like I said, I've taken them apart so many times. You know, it's pretty easy for me to do it now. But that's what you know, keeps people from buying these pistols. Like I mentioned, the accuracy. This is the 6 7/8 inch barrel slab side. These are not the factory grips. These are some Hogue rubber grips with the thumb rest on the side of them. I like these grips. These are the grips actually that come with the pistol. You know, it's got the checkering wood grips, pretty grips. Nothing was wrong with the grips, but my father-in-law has had this exact same pistol at the same time I went to purchase this one. He had the Hogue grips on them. I like the finger grooves and everything in the front of them. So I just bought them, put them on, really like them. I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not take this pistol apart every single time I shoot it, okay? Just because it is a little tedious of taking apart. What I usually do, I spray some gun scrubber in there and some bore cleaner, run the bore snake through it a couple of times and clean it, get a toothpick in there, not toothpick, but a Q-tip, excuse me. Q-tip in there and rub it down really good and get all the carbon and the powder residue and everything out of the inside of the barrel. And you know, I just mostly just surface clean it. Now if I fire at 500-600 rounds, you know, if I go out with a bunch of friends and we just go through a whole box of bulk ammo, yeah, I'll take it apart and I'll clean it. But just shooting it, you know, 40-50 times, I don't take it apart and clean it. I just do pretty much a you know, a surface cleaning on it. But a lot of people I know that'll make mad, you know, that I do that. But I fired this gun, like I said, 10,000 rounds, and I don't keep it the cleanest in the world, but I do try to keep it at least clean and the inside of it pretty clean. And to be honest with you, I can count how many times this gun has malfunctioned on one hand. You know, a lot of times it malfunctions just because of the ammo, the cheap ammo that I shoot through this stuff. I shoot it a few more times. Should have been loading this up while I'm talking. I'm still new to these review things, sorry. Get my ears back in. And this thing's just do not want to turn today. Ruger Mark II, competition target. You know, if you're on a budget, this is a great shooter. You know, you can buy the rail for the top of it here and mount you a red dot on it or mount you a scope. I just leave it on at all times, so that gives me the option of using either open sights or putting a scope, or I've got a couple red dots in there that sometimes I put on it. Another disadvantage of this pistol is that it is heavy, okay? If you are a young shooter, I wouldn't recommend this pistol just because it's so heavy. You know, after a while, after you shoot probably 50, 60 rounds through it, you're going to be shaking a lot and moving a lot just because of the heaviness of the gun. I think the gun weighs, I think, around 43 ounces, something like that. I may be wrong, 40 to 43 ounces. So it is kind of heavy. But if you're an experienced shooter, or if you're, you know, can handle heavier guns, you know, you want you a good tack driver, this is the pistol. So, you know, like I said, you can pick them up $250, $300, and they're great, reliable pistols. Ruger overbuilds stuff on these Mark series pistols, and you know, if you take care of them, they're pretty much going to last you a lifetime. So I hope you guys enjoy the video.